during this year and last year, we worked with the Agora Experimental Photography Collective, and we met online with 12 international experimental photographers, and people were in many places around the world, on the Reunion Island, and there were several, I can't think of all the places that people were coming from, but we met 14 times, and we talked about developing our work, and the idea was that we were all experimenting with old techniques and new techniques, and developing hybrids of them. So there are two of us. There's Ed Peck, and then there's myself. And Ed works much more technologically than I do, and so he was trying to blend some of his art school techniques, his analog work, with his digital work. I'm mostly a hands-on photographer, and so I start with things that are one-of-a-kind, cyanotypes, or chemigrams, or lumen prints, and I kind of make hybrid things of those, and this got all put together in a story, and then our work merged with the work of 12 other artists who were represented in an exhibition at the Experimental Photography Festival in Barcelona this summer. I think this is the 4th festival that they've had, and they're an ongoing concern now, and we're going to be working with them again this year.
This show comes out of an art residency that we did in East End, Saskatchewan, where we were there for a month in Wallace Stegner's childhood home, which has now been part of the East End Arts Center. And East End is a very small community at the foot of the southern foot of the Cypress Hills, in one of the larger coulees, or sort of at the end of a larger coulee. So the show is basically about that community and the surrounding area, and the delicacy of where they live, the creativity of the people that live in that town, and the tenacity and drive that they have. It's such a beautiful spot, and so we spent 30 days or more trying to figure out how to capture the essence of that community.
Can you tell me why you chose this medium, your technique for this show?
Yeah, I mean, I worked a lot with painting and printmaking, and when I discovered that the photographic medium had moved away from the chemical darkroom that I was used to working in, I thought, oh, this is very much more like painting or printmaking. It opens up all kinds of possibilities that you wouldn't have had before, of being able to really express how a place was. The older forms of photography, I think, were a bit restrictive in what you could do. These things are much more like printmaking. And so what we're working with is cotton papers and pigment inks, and trying to kind of recreate the emotional experience that we were having in the area, or the essence of that area. And much easier to do in this kind of a medium, so that's why we chose it. My work is done with a medium format camera. Phyllis's work is maybe quite the opposite. She's working totally on an iPhone or an iPad. So everything that she's done has been created that way. So you've kind of got a yin and a yang in terms of the digital world being presented in kind of an analog printmaking fashion.
My work is photo-based. I like to do most of my work. I like my work to be portable. I like my work to be on the go, and I don't like to have to find studio space that's dedicated to do my work. So I find that My work is either photo-based but without a camera or darkroom, and it's print-based, or I can work inside my phone with certain iPad and iPhone apps. So all of these were done with just a little iPhone that I could carry around in the late the spring type winter that they were experiencing in Saskatchewan. And so what I do is I'll work with a root photo, and then I will transfer that into one of my photo apps and create layers, and sometimes I'll mix them. Sometimes I'll mix them 3 or 4 times, where I'll take several images and put them through and treat the different layers a certain way, or treat the composite a certain way until I get the effect. So I can't tell you exactly because I can't take notes along the way, but I kind of like what I see, and then I wonder if I can mix something else on top of that, or I can erase, or I can enlarge. But it's, you know, it's a very quick hands-on process until I can achieve the mood that I am trying to represent in my work. You also wanted to know a little bit about the title of the show. I think it's pronounced Apeiron. It's spelled Apeiron, A-P-E-I-R-O-N, and it means spaciousness in time and geography. So the prairies has an endless, a sense of endlessness. You can look up in the sky and you don't know where forever ends, and you can look out in the geographical distance and you don't know where, you can't see the horizon. You can just kind of see where the earth and sky blend. And so I thought that was a very fitting concept. And then as I got to know people in the town, I realized that people in the town wanted to make their history go on forever. So it's time, you know, it's endlessness in time, space, and history. And so that kind of wraps a ribbon around the idea of the show. People are very dedicated to preserving the past and to going into the future. This show would not be possible without thanking, first of all, the East End Arts Council for their generous residency in April of 2022, and also Xchanges Gallery and Studios for inviting us into this gallery space to hold this exhibition.